So Simone's story is quite phenomenal, and a number of you who have ever taken Lufthansa would probably associate her name first with Lufthansa, where she was the chief financial officer. And that brings up an interesting point about women in business in Germany. The numbers tend not to be amazing. Tell us about your journey to becoming the Lufthansa CFO, then the Boehringer Ingelheim CFO, and the journey in between as well.
Well, it's, I think, a repetitive pattern in my career, and that is never stop, and especially don't stop when you feel comfortable. Everybody was asking me, how can you leave a DAX, a listed company, CFO, Lufthansa, spectacular, your name is known. Well, you shouldn't rest at that stage. You should go forward. So this is what I did. So after studies, every 3 to 5 years, I moved on within Lufthansa for 27 years. And then I said, come on, it cannot be that I end my career with the same industry, with the same governance, despite the fact that it's so exciting. And having a new industry now with the pharmaceutical, and it's a family-owned business, so it's totally new governance. That is quite exciting, and I think that is maybe a pattern I would recommend. And regarding your question of German and females, there are a lot, but I think they are not very outspoken. We talked about that. There are very few German females here, so we have to change that.
What was the journey like when you decided that you wanted to get into Lufthansa? I mean, you were there for 27 years. Did you kind of decide that when you were 12, I'm going to become the CFO of Lufthansa and then deal with strikes and pilots? Or was it something completely out of the blue? Was it just a job?
Well, it was totally different. I wanted to study art, and my father said, don't do something so stupid because you never earn your money with that. He was right, I think, because I'm not so talented. And so I just wanted to have something international, and I wanted to have something exciting. And of course, Lufthansa as a brand is exciting, and the industry is exciting. And then I moved on, well, I think like all of us, I always looked at the next or the step after the next, but not having a plan to become the CFO from the very beginning. No, not at all.
Well, Lufthansa went through a few issues, and around the time that you left, the strikes in Europe were really taking headlines. It also sounds a bit like the issues the European Union faces on a constant basis of wanting to sit on, the situation and saying, this is comfortable, we know this. What are the key takeaways if you have to look at the experience of a company like Lufthansa and then extrapolate it to business in the EU?
Well, I think airline is a very special industry, and your comparison with the EU fits very well, because we still have, I think, around about 127 airlines within Europe. When you look at the US, there are around about 5 big ones and some smaller ones. And we still have this national thing that everyone needs an airline. There you have too much capacity, you do not have a European solution, and you have a lot of legacy. And you mentioned the strikes. A lot of people in the airline business still think that airline will stay forever and they cannot go bankrupt. And therefore they live in an old world with a lot of legacy, and the airline industry has to change, like so many other industries, and the pharmaceuticals too.
Well, that would then bring up what our panel just before was talking about, disruption and innovation. In a European context, we talk about the digital single market, the banking union, the capital markets union. The list is long of what we need to achieve. From your experience sitting in Germany as CFO of 2 extremely successful German companies, what is the German viewpoint of what the European Union needs to do at this point? And how do businesses interact from Germany with a UK that's gone through Brexit, France, where we have had a new president? How is business going to change and the environment going to change under that single market?
There may be a German view, and there is my personal view, and there may be a
Let's
different...
get both views.
So I think one is Germany is brought into a very powerful position by being export champion, and at the same time accused to be that. Being successful in exporting mean obviously it's good in production and in quality. So being accused for that, it's quite strange. At the same time, Germany takes a leading role, and to become Europe, there should not be one leader. So it's very difficult, and I think it's a very biased situation we are facing here. And in my opinion, we definitely need a European solution, and that means, and that is a little bit like nationalism I mentioned in the airline industry, people have to give up to get something stronger. It's like prisoner's dilemma. You know, you think you fight for your own and therefore you are strong. In reality, you are losing. Only together, when we are sharing in Europe, we will win. And that is for the politics as well as for enterprises and industries. And I think that is a dilemma I do not have a solution for. But we very strongly, in the election now within Germany and in the new constellation with Brexit, which is there, it's fact, we have to face it, and with a new government in France, where we have a very strong European thinker, we should take that opportunity to consider what Europe can bring to the world.
I think you make a very valid point, and that viewpoint, is it going to be influenced by the upcoming German elections? Because I think we've gone through elections here, we've gone through the French elections, and the next one is the one that every business person is looking at. What's the business view of how the German elections are shaping up? Are we going to get the same old stability, or are we going to see a change?
Well, when you look at the business opinion at the moment, obviously all the unrest in the world doesn't harm that all share prices are sky high by business or investors expecting that the new leaders will not take care of regulations or lower taxes. And I admire Ylva when she said people in Sweden love to pay taxes. Yes, we should be proud to pay taxes and really help the society. So I think it's a little bit irritating that we have so high share prices, despite the fact that we have leaders in the world claiming that that they want to do something against society. So, but business likes it, obviously. Business would like to have stability in Germany, to continue with the Christian Democratic Party, which is there, and Angela Merkel, which is there, because there is so few stability. I think the whole world would love to have that. And I have to admit, I think a lot of German voters will also go for that, despite the fact that also in Germany we have the same feeling. People feel that maybe also the Chancellor is taking too much care of the exterior and not taking care of the people in her own country. And we have people who feel left alone, despite the fact that nobody really is so much suffering from refugees. Again, I go with Ylva. We have to take care of these people. But we have to take care of the emotion of the voters, and if they feel left alone, they may be good for surprises also in Germany.
That is quite an interesting point to bring our audience in, and please do get your questions in about both the business side and also Germany. Does anyone have a question for Simone?
Simone, I think everyone's hopeful with Macron in France that reform in France is possible. On the other hand, reform in France is going to require a lot of funding. And I wonder what your view is of the tolerance to the point that you made, that we all need to help each other and give a little. Germany's given a lot. Is there tolerance to give more to help France get there and sort of save the European project?
Well, I'm a little bit skeptical just to give financial means to somebody to just become better, because very often you have to make it up on your own. My belief is what would be maybe more important, and that is a position Mr. Macron is standing for, having a common financial thinking and maybe also tax thinking in the European Union. Will be very difficult to do with 27 partners, but I think that could be maybe a Europe of the two speeds, where it's not like Germany given. Again, that is not a helpful position, because then somebody feels, French may think, okay, we are just depending on Germany. Germany should not be in that position. So I think it's more like building up a new governance for Europe, where Macron is standing for, which I think France should feel a lot more comfortable by being in a building role and not by being somebody who just gets money from somebody else, who then immediately becomes in the stronger position. That's not healthy.
We have another question on this side. Can we get our friendly little mic handlers in? There you go.
Simone, your career and trajectory are really impressive in a German context. In the UK, we have probably 25 women who've been very senior CEOs or CFOs. But I worry, if you look behind you in the executive pipeline in Germany, do you see more women coming up through the ranks?
I think we really still have a problem in Germany. There was a mail 2 years ago saying there is no female able to do a listed company in Germany in the next 10 years. So there is still a culture where we have a lot of unconscious bias. And we also have a social pressure that females doing a career, combining that with family, have social pressure by not being good mothers. So it's very deep in the DNA. I just do not believe if anybody is telling me there is no pipeline of female talents. So we have to work on, and like maybe many of you, I was against the quota in the beginning of my career, saying, okay, I can make it on my own. I'm a very strong promoter for the quota now, because that makes conscious that we have female and that we could put females in the position, and then this social wrong thinking in Germany stops. So the pipeline is there, yes, there are good talents, yes, and we just have to bring them into sight.
We have time for one quick question, which is coming from here. Quick question, quick answer.
Good morning. Saba Nazar from Bank of America. Angela Merkel has been a great ambassador for human rights, social values in what has been a difficult time globally. Her dealings with the US and with President Trump have also, I think, been admirable and very respectful given the circumstances. Can you comment a little bit about how you see Germany's business relationship developing with the US under this current Trump administration?
Very quick.
I think what Mrs. Merkel does is the right thing. Stand to your values and negotiate and work with the lot of American business people who have the same values all over the country. So it's not just one president, it's a lot of huge, valuable people and industries in the whole Americas, and work with them.
Well, on that note, I do want to point out that there's a humongous amount that Boehringer Ingelheim, where Simone is right now, is doing in terms of innovation. And we'll continue a conversation with Simone in our concurrent session on innovation at 11:10. So hopefully all of you will join us, or some of you will join us who've signed up for that session. But Simone, thank you very much for your time. And I wanted to say it was enlightening to kind of get an idea of how the German elections could play out in terms of what business thinks. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.